What a pleasure it is to be here in my ward, Ward 31. Usually when I'm asked to speak, I have to travel to Hobbs, Silver City, Raton, or Farmington. And it was so wonderful that all I had to do was cross tramway to get here. I literally live just across the road. So excuse my voice, I've lost it a little bit. I'm hoping by Tuesday I regain full strength. My Chief of Staff, Mark, is saying maybe, because I will tell you that one of the hardest things to do is to control those 42 senators, and one in particular, I won't mention the Admiral. I'll meet my full strength come Tuesday to open up the legislature. So what an honor it is to be here, and I want to say, Bashara, thank you, and all of your team for the invite, all the work that you do. Let's give her another round of applause. We want to take an opportunity to thank my representative. Bill, you do a hell of a job. We're really proud to have you there. Really do. And of course, Trudy. Trudy on the City Council. I'm thinking about both Trudy, Bill, and then Senator Payne and I all serving. And it's kind of, I can relate to every one of those positions. My first office was a councilman serving on the local level. Of course, I got elected to the House of Representatives by the way of defeating Raymond Sanchez, which I still wear that badge. Today, I'm honored to serve with the Admiral, Bill Payne, in the New Mexico State Senate. So it's a great opportunity for me to really have the opportunity to experience state government at almost every level. And now today as Lieutenant Governor, serving with Governor Martinez on the executive level, I'm honored to do it. And more than anything else, I always consider myself to be a public servant. And the day that any of us forget that we work for you and that we serve you, then it's time for us to quit, right? But we have great opportunities this particular cycle. And I'm so proud that the House of Representatives has a Republican majority and a Republican Speaker of the House. It was one of the things that when I ran against Ray Sanchez back in 2000, I remember talking about it. Well, when I first announced, including to my wife, that I was going to take on the Speaker, she and everybody else kind of laughed, right? Said, yeah, whatever. And when we beat him, then I talked about it would be wonderful if one day the Republicans took control of the House of Representatives. Well, that took 15 years, but we did it, right? And I say we did it because it was the ability for people, just like at every ward level, that made the difference. And today we are on the cusp of really doing something amazing for New Mexico. For the first time, we believe that the Republican Party will be more than just relevant, that it will have a say in how we control, and more importantly, how we lead this state. Because the stakes have really never been higher in New Mexico, ever. But make no mistake about it that if we fail in this effort, if we take advantage or don't take advantage of this great opportunity given to us, we will fail. Remember, the last time Republicans controlled the House was back when Eisenhower was president, right? We took over, what, 60 years plus or so? Yeah. But if we don't do our job properly and lead and follow through on those promises that we've made and those values that we are fighting for every day and will continue to, what are they? They're the values of a smaller, more lean government. They're the values of making sure that we empower the individual and businesses, that government's not the answer, right? That it is empowered by the individuals what made this country great. Those family values that we fight for. And Donnie, I'm proud to say that we've worked closely together for all these years, right? Making sure that we stand up for family values that are important to us. Conservative, constitutional-based values that have made this country great. We know what the answer is. The challenge is, will we be able to deliver? And if we don't deliver, make no mistake about it, in 2 years, the people of this state will send us back. So it's great to, really enjoy the idea that we have a majority in the House and that we have a Republican administration, a Republican land commissioner, as I call him, landslide done. Of the 7 state constitutional statewide offices, 4 are held by Republicans. Isn't that great? And we have Secretary of State Diana Duran, who's done a heck of a job. So we are more than just, in a position to lead. We are the majority now for the most part. Bill Payne and I will be working in the Senate so that when Bill Ream and his colleagues send bills over to us, I want to reassure you one thing, that I will, as the president of the New Mexico State Senate, do everything I can procedurally and within the rules to make sure that those bills get heard on the Senate floor. Because when we do, I believe we have enough votes, not only the 17 Republicans that we have, but a coalition of conservative Democrats that agree with us as well. Not because they're Republican initiatives, because they're the right thing to do, right? We mentioned right to work bill, right? We talked about tougher DWI bills. How about photo ID for New Mexico, right? How about ensuring that we repeal the law that gives driver's licenses to illegal immigrants, especially in light of the challenges, the threats made to our nation today, right? All you have to do is turn on the television, pick up the newspaper, and you see the challenges facing this country, the threats to our nation. The issue of the driver's licenses is always, and first and foremost, a matter of national security and public safety. It has nothing to do about race. And what we're talking about, the color of people's skin in New Mexico, when we have now 50% of the state's population is Hispanic. What a great opportunity for us as New Mexicans, not to be hyphenated New Mexicans, but as New Mexicans, to be able to lead, to bring Hispanics back to their roots, which is the Republican Party, right? Prior to 1930, prior to the New Deal, as I like to refer to it as the big lie, where they said that government would be the answer. New Mexicans and Hispanics don't want a handout. We want a handout through opportunity, right? The empowerment of our children's education, the ability for people, small business people like myself, who want to empower not only their families, but provide the American dream for their families as well. And yes, government should always provide a safety net. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. That safety net should be a trampoline and not a hammock, right? It does not keep you in prison for the rest of your life. These are the values that we adhere to as Republicans. The responsibility is ours now is not only to talk about it, but to put forward those bills, but to lead by example. And when we do, we will remain not only in the position we are now, but I really believe, folks, we will maintain us as a permanent majority in New Mexico. We must do that if New Mexico is ever going to be able to compete. I was so proud to see, is it Kira? Yes. Right? We need to do a better job in reaching out to younger people as well. And I know that because I have two young daughters. A 25-year-old who'll be 26 here. She doesn't want to be reminded of that. My youngest is now 21 years old. And let me tell you, I sent both of my daughters to UNM. They went in really good conservatives. They came out pretty good conservatives. But make no mistake about it, the war on our young people through academia is waging every single day, right? And we need to do a better job to fight for the hearts and minds of our young people. Because you know what? As wonderful it is to see all of you here today, and thank you so much for your years and decades of service and commitment to our party and our state, we need to bring in more younger people as well. The battle for that is critical. It'll be about results, though, and not rhetoric. Can we agree upon that? You know, we have a president today who is really good about rhetoric, right? Yeah. But the results aren't there. If we're going to be the majority party among all New Mexicans, whether they be Hispanics, African Americans, Native Americans, and to that point, isn't it wonderful that we've got Sharon Klasha-Shillage representing the Republican Party in the Navajo Nation? What a tremendous messenger. What a tremendous messenger she is. She is, think about those two demographics that we as a party are always being criticized about. That we don't do well among women and we don't do well among minorities. We have a Native American female conservative. Wow, that's a trifecta. And let me tell you, she's amazing. I'm so proud of her. But if we're going to continue to grow our party, we're going to have to deliver results. And what are those results? And I'll close with this. It's about creating opportunity. And we know that we create opportunity when we build an environment that New Mexico can thrive. Let's never forget our existing businesses here in New Mexico, our small businesses that make up the backbone of our state and our country's economy. So when we talk about passing right to work, it's just not a matter that we're going after the unions. We're talking about building an environment where people will want to come to New Mexico, right? Where people will say, you know what, New Mexico is competitive. When we talk about redoing our tax code, it's about making our state more competitive with our neighboring states. When we push back on the fact that we say that the minimum wage is too high in Santa Fe, it's not because we're against workers. We just know that we want to protect those people who are creating jobs as well. When we talk about pushing back on unneeded regulations and rules, right, it's not because we're in the pocket of big business or oil or the mining industry. It's because we know that common sense regulations will provide an environment that's conducive for growth. These are what we're talking about. When we talk about reforming our education and saying that we're going to end social promotion, we're talking about, listen, let's raise expectations for our children, our parents, our teachers, for the entire state of New Mexico. We ought to be expecting more, right? I grew up dirt poor, youngest of 8 kids, no dad, no running water, lived in our bedroom was about a third of, our whole house was about a third of this room. But even though we grew up in those conditions, the expectations to be successful and to stay in school and to learn were just as high as if I would have lived in a 10,000 square foot house, up in Northeast Albuquerque, right? It doesn't make a difference what the color of your skin is, what your last name is, or what your zip code is. In New Mexico, we ought to raise that. So when we talk about fighting for education reform, that's what people are going to be expecting from. And I'll tell you right now, you go down to some of these small school districts, down in Doña Ana County, right, Mark? We down to Chaparral, right? Yeah. Some of these communities where they said, oh, they're just poor kids from poor families. They can't learn. With the governor's education reforms that are starting to now kick in, those kids are excelling. They say, bring it on, we'll compete with anybody. That should be the attitude in New Mexico. Bring it on. New Mexico can compete with anybody. We have to change our attitude, we have to change our approach, we have to change the way we think about ourselves as New Mexicans. And here, Republicans, good Republicans, the call comes out to you tonight. Good Republicans, let's expect more from our party. Let's not compromise on the values that we really stand on. Let's work across the aisle for those people who are wanting to get the job done. And I love what Bill said. Thank you, Bill. When you said, you know what, we may not agree on 100% of everything as Republicans, but I'll guarantee you, against the progressives of this state, we disagree against them 100% of the time with them, right? So it's about party unity, it's about local involvement, it's about making sure that we support our ward chairs. And I want you to know that even that I'm the second highest ranking person in the state government, I believe that our party should be built from the bottom up. It should be built from the bottom up, at the ward level, right? In the neighborhoods. If we don't fight that battle every day to make sure, then we won't be able to elect good city councils like Trudy Jones. We won't be able to send back a good representative like Bill Ring. We just won't. We'll lose it. And for my good friend, the Admiral, who, by the way, I want to say, thank you for your service. And for anybody else who is a veteran who has served this country, we want to say thank you. God bless you. We're here because of you. Now, in closing, Charlotte, again, thank you. Frank, thank you for the work that you do. Tuesday is going to be a great day. We're looking forward to it. And then we have 60 days to go out and make a difference. And if we are united, we come together, we stand on our values, and change our approach to how we do business in our state, we will remain the majority party. God bless you. Thank you so much.